The English language has a fascinating history. It all began in the 5th century AD. Tribes from mainland Europe, including the Angles, Saxons, and Jutes, migrated to Britain. They brought their own Germanic languages, which blended and evolved over time. This fusion of tongues formed what we now call Old English, the ancestor of modern English.
Old English sounded very different from the English we speak today. It had complex grammar rules and a guttural pronunciation. Imagine words like morgen for morning and steora for star. It was a language rich in alliteration and kennings, poetic devices that gave it a distinct rhythm and beauty.
Despite its differences, Old English laid the foundation for the language we know and love. Many basic words in English, like man, woman, house and day, have their roots in Old English. These words provide a sense of continuity and connection to our linguistic past. They remind us that English, for all its complexities, has humble beginnings.
In the 8th century AD, a new wave of invaders arrived on English shores, the Vikings. These fierce warriors from Scandinavia spoke Old Norse, a language that, while different from Old English, shared common Germanic roots. The Vikings' impact on English was profound. They didn't just raid and pillage. They settled, traded, and interacted with the Anglo-Saxons. This interaction led to a fascinating linguistic exchange.
Old Norse words began to seep into the English language, enriching its vocabulary. Words like sky, skull, knife, and take all have Norse origins. Even everyday pronouns like they, them, and their came from Old Norse, replacing their Old English counterparts.
This Norse influence went beyond individual words. It simplified English grammar, making it less complex and more adaptable. For example, Old English used different verb endings depending on the subject of a sentence. Norse influence helped to streamline these endings, moving English towards a simpler verb system.
The year 1066 marked a turning point in English history and language. William the Conqueror, Duke of Normandy, invaded England, defeating the English at the Battle of Hastings. This Norman conquest had a seismic impact on English society and, most notably, on the English language.
The Normans spoke a dialect of French, which became the language of the court, law, and administration. English was relegated to the language of the common people. For almost 3 centuries, English existed in the shadow of Norman French, yet it continued to evolve, absorbing words and phrases from its linguistic overlord. Words like government, justice, parliament, and literature all entered English during this period, reflecting the influence of Norman French on English institutions and culture.
Latin, the language of scholarship and the church, also left its mark on English during this period. As English re-emerged as a language of writing and literature in the 14th century, it borrowed heavily from Latin to expand its vocabulary and express new ideas. Words like legal, medical, scientific, and university reflect Latin's enduring legacy on English.